Hey, it's Kevin DeWitt here. Welcome to the next video in the Setting Up a Home Music Studio course. In this video, we're going to check out and talk about the furniture requirements. This video here, we're talking about furniture requirements, and it sort of goes part in part with the previous two, okay? Because I've talked about you filling out worksheets of how you want things laid out, what room to pick, and the design of your actual room. Now, knowing what furniture you're going to put into it may be a critical part of the previous step. So if you were struggling a little bit with the previous step, hopefully this one will give you some further ideas on that if you haven't already worked these parts out. The first critical decision that I stated in the previous topic of your room layout and design was the desk location. So obviously in this part, when we're talking about furniture requirements, the first item I'm going to talk about is the desk. So you need to think about what sort of desk you want to get. Now, again, you may already have a desk, you may be locked into that desk, you may not be changing that desk, and if that's the case, that's fine. You have nothing to really think about with this desk. You've already got it, you're going to utilize it. But if you haven't got a desk, or you are looking to possibly think about getting a new desk, then you need to consider a few things about that desk. So a couple of key factors for your desk are going to be what size desk you need for the stuff you're going to put on it, and what size desk is going to fit in the room that you've picked. There's no point buying a custom built massive mixing recording desk if it's not going to fit in your room. So obviously you need to factor that in first, all right? And that's part of your layout and design. Hopefully, if you went through your layout, your design, and you hadn't actually picked a desk or you didn't have one, but you still factored in where that desk was going to go in your room, you may be able to now walk into that room and get a tape measure out and work out what is the biggest size desk you could get, or what is the most practical size. Biggest may not be the right choice. It may be what is practical as well. And obviously, how much do you want to spend on this desk? Okay, you may want to, as I said, buy a custom built desk that's all fancy, specifically designed for recording and mixing stuff. It's got spots in it for external hardware rack gear. It's got little mounts on it to put your studio monitors on, and trays for your MIDI keyboard and everything else, and all the whiz-bang stuff. And if you can afford that and it's going to fit in your room, then fantastic, go for it. It'll be brilliant, you'll love it. But you may not want that, you may not have the budget for it, or it may not even the budget, it just may not be suitable for your room. You may not find an appropriate one of those. Okay, so you might just go down to your local IKEA or wherever, whatever hardware store or furniture store you have in your local area, and just buy a simple desk. Now, you may already have a spare desk in the house. There may be something that's not being utilized. So have a look around the furniture in your house. You know, have your kids got a desk in one of their rooms that they were supposed to do their homework on, but they don't? You know, they sit in bed doing their homework, or they sit somewhere else on the couch in front of the TV and they never use that desk. Is that something you could just go and take back and utilize in your own room? So keep in mind, you don't have to spend big amounts of money on a desk, right? A desk is basically, it's just a desk. It's just something to put your stuff on. So if it's going to work for you and it's cheap, then don't feel you need to spend a lot of money. Now, I didn't spend a lot of money on my desk. My desk is very simple. It's not a custom built desk. It is a desk that I bought from a store here in Australia called Officeworks. They sell office supplies. It was not a very expensive desk. It's very plain looking. Just has a couple of legs and a blank white top on it. But to me, it was the most appropriate for my setup because it was very open. I could have cables hanging everywhere. I was not restricted and boxed in by certain layouts of the desk. It was just a plank, basically of wood that was colored white, and it was just plain. I could put things wherever I wanted to, and it was the most flexible option for me to fit in my room and to accommodate my equipment. The next most important item of furniture to go into your studio is a chair. All right, so unless you're somebody that's going to buy a standing desk and stand up the entire time, I'm assuming you're going to want to sit down. So a nice chair that you can sit down. I generally like sort of an office style chair with wheels on it, a high back so I can sit back and listen to the music in comfort if I just want to relax, chill out and absorb the music and you know, just appreciate what I've created or what I'm working on at the time. Nice high back to relax. Now the other thing that I factored in with mine, because I play guitar, I actually found a chair that has arms that you can pull up and down. Now, because when I'm sitting there doing mixing and recording stuff but not playing, I like to have arms on my chair. I just find it comfortable. I don't find very comfortable without arms. I just feel like I'm just floating. But when I'm playing guitar, arms get in the way of the guitar. So these ones were perfect for me. I could push the arms up and I could play my guitar freely without anything getting in the way. So think about those things as well. Now I have wheels on my chair because I like to move around. You know, I've got to get from one instrument to another part of the room or whatever. So wheeling it around is ideal for me. I don't want a chair that's stuck and I've got to pick it up every time I want to move it. You know, even if you might not be somebody that likes sitting down to record your music. You might like to stand up and play the guitar to record. You know, so being able to quickly push the chair out of the way because it's on wheels is ideal. And again, with every other piece of furniture and everything I'm talking about here, this may be something you already have, or it may be something that is in the house already that you want to utilize. It may not be something you're going to go out and buy, but if you are, obviously factor these in and think about it. Again, has to be comfortable too. Don't go and buy a chair that's uncomfortable. You potentially could be sitting in this chair for hours if you obsess about your music. You could be sitting there for hours and you don't want to end up with back pain or any other problems because of a really bad, cheap chair. So other items to factor in as well are things like couches. If you're going to set up a room where it's big enough to fit a couch in and you like to lounge on a couch to write lyrics or think, or you're going to have other artists come into the room, you need to provide somewhere for them to sit while you're doing the recording. So, you know, you're sitting at your desk in your chair, you're fine. You don't want your artists just standing in the corner looking stupid. You want them sitting on a couch, relaxed, listening to the music and enjoying the whole process and the vibe of it. But again, even if you're not getting artists in, if you've got a big enough room, you can fit a couch in, it might be a nice spot for you to relax and just do some other things that are aside from recording, you know, like, as I said, writing lyrics, planning, whatever else it is. Now again, if this is an empty room and you're starting from scratch, you're going to want things like cupboards, bookshelves, things to put books on, things to store microphones, cables, all your little bits and pieces. As you're buying equipment and you're buying instruments, they all come with bits and pieces and stuff, and you don't want them all just sitting on the floor. You need to factor where you're going to put them in. If you've got a few instruments as well, do you have you know, things to put them on? You know, your guitars, can they sit on a group of stands or whatever else you need in there? So you need to factor that stuff in as well, especially things like bookshelves and cupboards. A lot of people don't think of these things until they get in there and then they go, oh, I've got nowhere to put this stuff. And another thing to think about, which a lot of people don't think about, is lighting, okay? So, you know, normally your room's gonna have a natural light, but that's not what you always wanna have on. You know, there's a good chance that unless you don't work or you're a student, you've got a lot of spare time in the day, you're probably going to be spending a lot of your time in here at night time in your studio recording and planning and doing whatever you're doing. A lot of artists respond to the mood of a room and to create their music. You know, you need to get that vibe, you need to get that atmosphere in there to put you in the right frame of mind. You know, music is an art, and an art is a feeling. You've got to be creative, you know, it's not an analytical thing. So you need to be in the right frame of mind and the right mood. So, you know, you could put some nice little Christmas lights or lava lamps or colored lights, whatever it is that you can adjust to set the mood of the room for what song you want to be creating or writing or how you feel at the time. And, you know, if you're into different genres of music, so if you're into metal, or whatever, you may want to put some really freaky stuff in there, you know, some skull heads and whatever else, lights and, you know, things that really set the scene for your room, for your style of music and what you want to get out of this room. You might want to have posters on the walls of your favorite artists to inspire you to move forward, pictures of guitars and stuff like I have in my room here. Whatever else, you need to think of all of those little factors of what's going to go in your room. Now, obviously you don't need to do it all day one, right? This stuff can develop over time, but consider it as you're going, as I said, for the future, so that I want to put this stuff in. So I'm going to plan for it and I'm going to accommodate space for it in my room or on my desk or wherever you need to put this stuff to get it in there and set that mood and make your home music studio look fantastic and actually make it fun and inviting to come into and work in there and enjoy the process of creating music. So as with all the other videos, please, if you have any questions about anything at all, put them in the comments. I'm happy to help. I want to answer all of your questions. So if you have any questions at all, again, no stupid questions. There is no such thing. Every question is a real question, and I'm going to treat every question with respect and answer it as best I can. So again, now it's your time again to go back to the PDF, get the worksheet out and fill out the worksheet. Start to plan what furniture you're going to put in the room. Even if you've already got the furniture, write it down. Document it all so you know what you're doing, and even go back to your room layout of the previous step once you write out what furniture you're going to put in there and see if you accommodated it in the room design. If you didn't, see if you can fit it into the room design. Adjust your room design, even redo your room design if you fundamentally miss something major and you need to redo it to fit something in. So go back and do that. This is a work in progress. I'm trying to make it step by step as linear as I can, but certain things make you have to go back a step and rethink what you did before. It's just unavoidable sometimes, but doing all this planning now, going back just on a piece of paper is a lot better than going back in a physical room and moving an entire set of furniture. So go and fill out the worksheets, get your now and future furniture all filled out, and then I will see you in the next part of the course.